That was not me screaming, by the way. So to me, you have the wherewithal or you don't. And actually, if you break down the moves that were made during games, he outcoached coaches that have been doing this a long time. Strategy, substitutions, timeouts. So as you observe that, you say, okay, do you have that wherewithal? Clearly, he has a whisperer, has his dad in his ear, and sort of that born-to-coach mentality. So as we looked at all the characteristics, as we looked at where is this program at now, what's coming down the pathway in terms of the next couple classes here in the state of Ohio, which are really deep in recruiting, I sat down with folks that know recruiting in this landscape, and to connect all the dots that he has, there's value in that. There's value in that in terms of other people that would have to come in and learn that, perhaps. So we just thought, look, if we know where we're going, let's pull the trigger. He's the real deal. He knows how to live at the highest level of college basketball. He's seen it in action. So to me, that made up for the lack of long-term head coaching experience, because he just fits with where we are in this program right now.
Andy Anders, 11 Warriors.
What else about his broader vision? You talked about the on-court side of it. You talked about the recruiting, but obviously there's a lot that goes into this in terms of transfer portal, NIL, staff construction. What about those things in terms of his long-term vision for the program stood out to you?
To me, that's where, as an assistant coach in this modern era, I think you actually take his age as an advantage, the relatability piece. He recruited most of the guys, or was the lead recruiter on most of the guys on the roster. He's recruiting that next generation of guys that are, considering Ohio State. So to me, you take that whole package that he offers. Yeah, he may be a certain age, but either the wherewithal is there and the DNA is there. And what I think about Jake, as I was going through my process to become an AD, he actually reminds me a lot of myself, because he's over-prepared, because he's been dreaming about this for a long, long time. And I think I was 37 when I became an AD. Jake, how old are you? 37. So very similar in terms of the preparation. Just because you're not the head coach in title doesn't mean you don't have an organized plan, doesn't mean you don't have a vision, doesn't mean you're not establishing core values for when you might take over a job. So he was equipped, I think, a little bit beyond maybe what you see on a resume.
Dan Hope, 11 Warriors.
Ross, you talked about the standard here needs to go up. In your mind, what is the standard for Ohio State basketball?
I think we should be consistently in the conversation for Big Ten championships. And if you're doing that, then you're going to be in a postseason run where you have the wherewithal to go to the Final Four and cut down those nets. We've been to Final Fours in recent history, right? And so we have that in our DNA. The way I described it to Adam when I talked to him last month was we have a blue blood type program, right? Now we need to be consistent in maximizing those ingredients. So to me, those are the things that he can activate. So whether it's the recruiting piece, whether it's the resources, whether it's working with the foundation and the 1870 Society on NIL, we have to maximize all those resources. We need to sell more season tickets, right? We lowered ticket prices. We're getting ready to launch all the season ticket renewals. Those things all have to be turned on. And this man right here has the leadership ability to activate all of those things. So those are the ingredients that we have. Now we have to turn it on. And so that'll be the work that we have to do. All of us in this department have to think of basketball at a higher level to achieve what we want in terms of reaching that standard of cutting down nets.
Andy Backstrom, Letterman Row.
Ross, you said that you started this process in Texas when you were still on sabbatical. Then you got here in Columbus. What most impressed you, I guess, about Jake as a leader once you got here and you got to see it in action?
I saw it in that Purdue game, and I thought he was actually going to play. I think he was on the court a couple times. I think they told him to back off. To me, you saw the energy, you saw the connectivity, you saw that he was maybe going to open up the style of play a little bit more. Maybe there's a little more freedom of playability, if you will. That's what players want to play in. They want to play in a structured but yet open style to maximize their talent. So you saw all of those things. And then when I came to the game on March the 3rd, I saw the environment and what it's capable of. I saw the way we played. I mean, We hammered them in the second half. I mean, that was awesome to see, right? And so all of those elements just came together. And then you have to sit down and talk. So we met with Jake, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks ago when I got here. We met in person, and then through conversations, solidifying what that plan could be, what he brings to the table, what his blueprint could be for this program in terms of the program identity. Again, it was the right decision for all of those reasons.
Pat Murphy, 24/7 Sports.
Ross, similar to kind of what you were just saying, but when you have an interim coach, you often see a bump. How do you distinguish between the pressure's off, guys are playing free under a different guy, versus sort of what you were just talking about with Jake as the coach, knowing that this will be a different situation come November next year?
Spencer Holbrook, Letterman Row.
Jake, how do you build on 8 games of success, but now being in the lead role and having to do things as the permanent head coach? How do you build on that and build on the continuity that you've now started, while also understanding that you're a new head coach for a reason, that the previous head coach isn't here anymore, and so you have to kind of make this into your own? How do you balance those two things as you start this new journey?
Timing's going to be important. It's still about serving our players as best as I possibly can and serving this program as best as I possibly can. That's what it was about when Gene and I met, and that's what it's going to be about moving forward. The timing of making more changes and more adjustments, and that will come, that will be here, really right around the corner. But we need to finish this season well first. The focus is serving these guys all the way through. And then we'll turn to being able to make some of those more significant changes that it didn't make sense to do and give us the best chance, was best for our guys when the change happened.
Joe Nugent, WCMH.
Congrats, Jake. What do you think the challenges will be like leading the team year after year after year versus doing it for 8 games in an interim role?
Well, thank you. Yeah, first off, it's hard to speak on something that I haven't experienced yet, but I will say this: what drives me is to serve this program and as best as I possibly can. That's not going to change. It's not going to change once we are able to win a championship. It's not going to change when we go through adversity. It's not going to be different, 5 years from now or however much longer I'm able to serve. So why I do it, what motivates me, my foundation is set. That's my faith and my family. But why I do it, like, our former players are always going to be here. That's motivation for me. So time will change things, certainly, but the motivation behind how we're going to take this program to where it belongs will not.
Dylan Davis, Delaware Gazette.
Not been shy about talking about your faith through all this, through a lot of uncertainty for you and your family. What has that faith meant to you through all this, leading you to this point now?
Everything. It means everything. I was asked during this process, how will you handle everything that goes with, being the head coach at Ohio State? And my foundation is my faith. That's what I will always go back to. That's what will always keep me steady. And I got into coaching because the most influential people in my life were coaches. They helped me grow spiritually. They helped me grow as a man, as a future husband and father. So why I got into coaching was to have that same impact on guys. I didn't go to college to be a coach. I saw my dad do it. He was unbelievable at it. I had these grand visions of owning my own business and things like that. But coaches are the ones that changed my life. I still believe in the influence that coaches can have on young men, and particularly this age, because that's when my life was changed. That's when my faith journey started. So that's how important it is to me. It's why I do what I do. And it's, make no mistake, I believe I'm here today because this is where God wants me to be. So I will continue to be open about how important that is to me. Thank you for your question, though.
David Breeks, Toledo Blade.
Jake, going back to the influences on your life, your dad, of course, is a successful, longtime high school coach. What did your dad mean in this journey, and what does it also mean to represent Northwest Ohio on this stage?
I very much appreciate that question. I take a great deal of pride in being from Northwest Ohio. And if you know our family background, we moved around a little bit, so when people ask me where I'm from, I tell them I'm from the 419. I take a great deal of pride in that. And if you look at, that's no offense to some former players who aren't from there, but if you look at the history of this program, there are some, the record books are filled with people from that area. So, probably should move on because I could go all day about that. But my dad's been so influential in my life. Those of you who've seen him coach can probably see that how I coach is a reflection of how he coached. And he taught me at a very early age how important passion was, both when you're correcting, but in an encouraging way too, and celebrating good things that happened. And his influence on me it's huge. Him being around this last month has been critical for me in the way he supported me. So I can't look at you or I'm going to get emotional. This means everything for our family to be able to be here and him be here today.
Rob Aller, Columbus Dispatch. And Rob, when you're done, can you put it over your left shoulder for Katie? Thank you. Rob Aller.
Your life could have taken a lot of different paths. You said maybe you were going to start your own business. Do you remember the moment you flipped the switch and what prompted that to go into coaching? Was there a moment or was it a gradual thing?
It was a more gradual thing. My freshman season didn't go the way that I envisioned it was going to go, which a lot of guys deal with that, right? And I vividly remember picking up the phone and calling my dad and saying, Dad, I got to transfer. Homer Drew doesn't like me. And if you know Homer Drew, he's like the nicest human on the planet. And my dad, in less words, said, don't ever call me again. You gave him your word, like treat practice like your game. And in that moment, I changed my mentality in college, and I went from not playing really at all to being voted by our team as a captain my sophomore year. And that sparked a leadership quality that I think I really embraced and I enjoyed and I valued. And again, that influence of the Drew family and the staff at Valpo and how I saw my dad's ability to impact people. I wanted to impact people in a positive way. Coaching seemed like just a great vessel for that. So over that period of time in college was when I realized that this is what I'm called to do.
Katie Kapusta, Spectrum One.
Hey, Jake, congratulations again. You talked about being from Northwest Ohio. You had quite a prolific high school career as well and some memories here in this building. A little bit about how that success has led you here today.
Yeah, to this day, and we're going to we got to build this to where we can surpass this. But my greatest memory in basketball is being on this court, winning a state championship with my dad coaching and my brother on the team. I've yet to be able to accomplish or achieve anything that has surpassed that. Perhaps we can do that here, but this arena has meant a lot to me. I met my wife here. We got engaged here. There's been so many moments on this court, and it's just part of the list of things of why we care so much about this program. But yeah, that moment, I hope every kid, I wish every kid could experience that, every high school kid. I love the state tournament. It's the absolute best. Ohio high school basketball is special. There's great coaches in this state. It's critical. The relationship between our program and this state is really important. We have to continue to raise that because we want guys from this state to be a part of our program. It doesn't have to exclusively be. There's been a lot of great players go through here who aren't from Ohio, but we could spend all day talking about the list of guys, and some of them are here who are from this state. And I just believe when you put on an Ohio State jersey and you are from the state of Ohio, it's almost like getting just an extra 2-3%. Guys in this program, they've always given everything they have, but when you're from this state and you put that jersey on, you get an extra couple percent, like unlocks maybe a little bit extra ability. So, yeah, that was my best memory. I'll forever cherish that. But this court and this building have meant a lot to us.
A couple more questions, folks. Adam Jardy, Columbus Dispatch.
Thank you.
So, to you after the game on Friday night, you said you hope to come home, get a little bit of rest, and kind of figure out what was going to. What were those next 24 hours like for you? How did Saturday unfold, and when did you realize that this was all real?
Yeah, thanks to Ross, I didn't get any more rest. In fact, it went the other way. You know, we didn't know our postseason, right, what that was going to look like, so my mind was kind of still wrapped around that a lot and wrapped around just how we could serve our players when I got a chance to meet with Ross and just how that, you know, kind of unfolded. Yeah, I was a little anxious. I was a little, there were just a lot of different emotions going on, and when he came over to our house and this really became real, that was almost exhausting in itself because there was just an abundance of just joy and happiness, and we're calling our parents, and it was special. But no, it was a wild, emotionally a wild day.
And we'll wrap things up with Tony Girdman, Buckeye Huddle.
Jake, in Ohio, what is your philosophy on building the roster via school recruiting versus the portal?
I think balance is important. I think balance is important at Ohio State. Like, we're able to recruit talented high school players, and we need to continue to do that. But we also need to utilize kind of all the resources available to build the best roster possible. So that balance will be important. That'll change to some degree year to year, but we're going to continue to view through the lens of what best sets us up to achieve our goals. And high school recruiting is really, really important in that. So is transfer portal is important in that. And then roster retention is probably of greatest importance.
Right now.
Yeah, listen, our focus we still got something to play for, so our focus as a program has been on that, but conversations have been started. We got to serve these guys well and see this season through, but as you guys have seen, there are great players in this program right now, and there are great players in this program who care a lot about Ohio State. They showed that was revealed by the way they played and finished the season. So we'll certainly lean into that, embrace that, and those conversations will happen as soon as the season's over.
Great, gentlemen. Thank you very much. Media, we'll try to do a couple group huddles just behind us here, get you guys a few more questions, and everyone else, thank you so much for coming. Gentlemen, congratulations.
Thank you for being here. Thank you. Thank you, guys.